Hi and welcome to one of my budget audio videos. In this video I'll be talking about the Technics SL-B21 Turntable. I bought this recently off of eBay on a bid up locally. There's only me and one other bloke bidding and I got it for £20. Today I'm going to change the belt, change the stylus and just a little bit of oil here and there and just a general chat about it really, what I did to get it as it is now. I thought I'd send away for a belt because when you're buying these turntables you don't know how long the belt's been on there. So you know, maybe a good idea if if it's a belt driven one to get yourself another belt. Always consider that in the cost of what you're bidding on it. Something you're going to have extra maybe to get it up to a bit newer, up to a bit more spec and as it was as new, so to speak. So obviously they're all different prices, but this belt was only £4.95, so say £5 that was delivered. Stylus was only a tenner delivered, so £15 in total I spent to upgrade this to as it was. So it's cost me £35. Turntable did come a bit dirty, so I've given it a good clean. As you can see, there's a little bit, show you the dirt there, how dirty it actually was. So I give it a good clean. I took this platter off. There's a little video of me taking the platter off here. Use a little tool here just to unclip the belt. But you can use a screwdriver or your finger or something like that. And the belt did feel quite loose, to be honest with you. It did feel on the loose side, so to speak. So with the platter off, I've cleaned all the way inside, around the inside of the plinth, the rim there, where the turntable spins, the actual turntable rim itself, give it a good clean. Took the belt off there, as you can see, and it's quite a lot of it, like a railway track, so to speak, of grime all the way around. So give that a good clean. It took me a little while, but finally it come up nice and clean. It's still impregnated, just a little bit of a staining on it here and there that I just couldn't get off, but other than that it's all nice and clean and smooth. Give the motor a little bit of oil there, just put a little bit of 3-in-1, but you can use synthetic oil. Just a little drop there and give it a little spin there, just showing you that. Also just clean the bushel, the pulley or whatever you want to call it on this motor. Though I was expecting a little bit more grime on it than this. It was a couple of specks, which I don't think comes up in the video, but there was a very few specks on the cotton bud there. And I use a syringe and some synthetic oil here now. You can buy this oil, it's only about £5 on eBay, it's not expensive. Synthetic oil for the bearings itself. I'm not too sure if you can use 3-in-1. You may be able to, but anyway, I bought this, if I just show you it here, it's just a little, you only don't get a lot, but it's just a little bit. Just put it in your syringe and just squirt it in there as I showed there. That just gets the ball bearings going there. So that's all nice and done there. I've come round to the front, I've cleaned these buttons here. These were kind of impregnated with little ridges or whatever, little dots so to speak, all the way along it. And these were quite grimy. Got a cotton bud, pressed fairly hard as I could on there with some detergent there, and they finally come up. And as it happens, they've come up really nice, as new so to speak. As you can see, they've come up really nice. So that's that done. What I'm going to do now then is put the turntable belt back on, and we're going to push the turntable back in there. As you can see, just the opposite action really. I've got that little tool, put it back on there and just pulled it back over the motor there. You can use a screwdriver, like I say. I only use this tool because it's quite blunt. It's a little plastic clip thing, it's quite blunt. You can use your finger and whatever, but just don't stretch the belt too much. And this belt was quite nice and taut, this belt. You can definitely tell the difference between this belt and the belt that was previously on there. I've cleaned all around this little tone arm here, in the nooks and crannies, just a cotton bud there. So that's all done. I'm just going to show you that this actual cartridge, actually comes off. It's only one screw holding it in. If you undo that screw and pull it out, the cartridge comes completely out, as you can see in this video, and actually picture, should I say. And you can actually see the 4 contacts there, hopefully, that it pushes into. But anyway, I've put it all back because we're not going to change the cartridge here. But if you wanted to change the cartridge, you could. Put a new stylus. Here's a little video of the stylus, a bit awkward there getting the angles right and everything, but basically just put it out towards you in a downward kind of 30-degree downward kind of angle, and that cartridge, that stylus will come out the cartridge, and just the opposite action to put the new one back in. That's done. Just going to go to the back, just adjusted the balance here, make sure it says about 1.5 for this cartridge, so I put it at 1.5 on the tone arm here, and also it says to do the anti-skating in the manual for what the you know what you've got the tone arm on, so that's 1.5 as well. So that's done. That's all fine. I mean, you could change the cartridge if you wanted to. It's up to you. Bear that in mind in the price. I mean, you know, the actual sound of this record player, it sounded nice, you know what I mean? It sounded okay, it sounded fine to me. I thought the output was a little bit low on the low side, the output. It was detailed, it was it was a detailed sound, it's quite detailed I thought. Top end, could have been a little bit more detailed in the top end I think. Other than that, it was fine, you know what I mean? So, for, you know, for what you're paying, you probably you'll probably keep it. But I'll be looking about, and a few people do recommend some of these Audio Technica cartridges for about £35. So you may be at one stage, you know, maybe want to swap over that or whatever. But for what it is, I thought, you know, for this kind of entry level turntable, it sounded nice, you know, it sounded fine, if just a little bit on the low side. I'm going to take the bottom off just quickly. Just want to check underneath that the grease is still, you know, still tacky and that, and it was. I mean, if this hardened up, you would have to clean it all off and re-grease it, but no, this was fine. This was nice and tacky and whatever, felt fine. I'm going to clean the bottom plate itself because that was quite dusty, so that dust is all sitting in there still, could fly, you know, things moving about inside, don't want to get it all in there, so just give that all nice and clean. So that's all nice and clean, so that's it. So that's the turntable done really, like, you know, belt change, change the stylus, and, you know, we kind of brought it back up to, you know, a reasonable, you know, condition and a reasonable sound, like, and obviously the speed's going to be nice. It was, you know, the speed's spot on. But you can get a mat and everything else and actually check the speed. But, you know, going by hearing, you know, it sounded fine, that speed. You know what I mean? It sounded spot on. So, you know, if you wanted to go that far, but and also like, you could, if you wanted to, just get these little scales that go underneath and actually check the actual precise downward force on the stylus itself. But I put this on 0 and the arm was floating as it should do nicely, so I've got no quibbles that on 1.5, it's actually on 1.5. Okay, so yeah, that video's been some help to some people. Yes, you know, for an entry level turntable you're going to pay maybe £50 for, thereabouts on eBay. Just bear in mind buying a new cartridge and belt as well, you may have to add to that, but yeah, you know, I recommend it definitely. It's nice and sturdy built. It's, you know, it's a sturdy turntable, probably about 120 quid these days if you went and bought one, you know, something similar, £130 I suppose, somewhere around there. They do make them quite flimsy these days, but you know, it's quite solidly built. You've got something that's quite, you want something reasonably heavy, you know, to keep it all firm and that on the table, all shaking about if you've got your speakers close by or whatever, or even on the same table or whatever. Okay, until my next video, I'll say thanks for watching and I'll see you all soon. That should be alright, I think.